Welcome, everybody. If you were tuned in to last week's Kelly and Kelly,
with hot topics in real estate, or mostly real estate.
we touched on pricing a home and appraisals. So we want to kind of continue that conversation. So I'm a buyer coming in. Actually, we talked about multiple offers, right? And the seller
I think we were about to start with multiple offers. We
Yes.
were talking about the idea that it's a seller's market. How does the seller know how to price their house? And then we're about to touch on how that affects the buyer.
with the multiple offers. Yep.
Yep.
So take me down a scenario that where you were going, especially on that house in Colby, when they did get the multiple offers. What, as a seller, what does that mean to them? And a buyer, and does that mean I don't have a prayer?
Right. So to start off just a little bit, when you're talking about a seller's market, it really does change the approach of the buyer, right? So back in the day when there were, 24 houses on the market for every buyer out there, you could throw a low ball at them and see what they would do,
Sure.
right? That doesn't really happen anymore, not in a seller's market, because if you throw a low ball at them, you're risking them walking away completely. They have no need to stay at the table because they know that there's another guest coming to the table shortly.
Well, plus they're not going to take you serious at all.
Right, right. So if you do that lowball offer, let's say, for instance, there are two people that are involved. What the seller can do is the seller can do what's called a multiple counter offer, which responds back to both parties that have shown interest.
Okay.
Now, there are a ton of myths regarding multiple offers. So the first is that both of those offers have to be the same, or both of those counters. They don't. So let's say there's a house that has a list price of $10. One person came in at $8.50, but has zero contingencies, right? I'm going to give you cash in 15 days.
Sure.
The next guy comes in and says, I will pay you $9 as long as my bank gets an appraisal and I have an inspection and we find everything else is exactly the way I expect it to be.
Okay.
Those are not equal offers.
Right.
It would be doing the seller and the buyers an injustice to respond to them equally,
Right.
right? So we might say, hey, Mr. Buyer, I love your contingency-free offer, but my house is worth $9, so I want $9. Here's your $9 counter.
Okay.
And they might say over here to buyer B that we certainly appreciate the fact that you love our house, that we would like 9.5, but we need you to remove this contingency, or we need you to do something else in order to. So we need you to pay for our home warranty, which means if your inspection finds something, it will be covered by the warranty plan, not by us.
Gotcha.
So there are lots of things that they can negotiate in that multiple counter that may or may not have to do with price, and they do not have to be equal.
Okay.
So that's the first myth.
Okay. And then you touch on home inspection, which we'll have to
Yeah, a whole
table
other
that for
topic.
another
Yep.
topic. But I don't have to, as the seller. I don't have to respond to both. I can pick and choose which one I respond to.
Right. Yep. So you do not have to respond to both. And sometimes it's not in your best interest to respond to both, because the minute that you make a counter offer, whether it's a counter straight up or whether it's a multiple counter offer, you risk the person on the other side of that contract deciding to walk away.
Okay.
So if you have that really good offer that you like, but you're just wondering if he'd pay a little bit more because you have two, you have to risk the fact that both walk and you have none.
Okay. I want to go into an offer that should come in as close, like you were talking about. It had
Right.
no contingencies. Let's get away. Like you said, it is, right now, it's a seller's market. So those days of, well, I'm going to offer them 20% less of list price, they're kind of gone.
Right.
Until-
And again, it depends on if the house is priced appropriately. So, I mean,
Correct.
there's always a little caveat or asterisk behind everything we say that says, get good advice from a good real estate agent.
And there's really no, well, you're safe offering this percent less or this. So what's your advice to buyers then on making that offer?
Yeah, I have said it. I've been in real estate for 20 years. And I probably cannot even count the number of times that I've said the exact same thing to every buyer I work with. Make the offer that lets you sleep at night. If you, let's again say we have a $10 listed house, and you cannot afford to pay more than $9, you cannot, or you don't believe the house is worth more than $9, whatever it is, if $9 is your number, make your offer of $9. If somebody else offers 9.5, that's fine, because you weren't going to pay more than $9.
Sure.
You're going to sleep well tonight because you know that. Now, if you decide to offer 8.5, hoping to get to 9, somebody else offers 9 and they get it, you are going to kick yourself all day long and then some. So whatever you do, avoid kicking yourself.
Right.
So that's my best buyer advice for this episode.
All right. You welcome. Thanks for tuning in to us. It's Kelly and Kelly.
With hot topics mostly in real estate.